I might turn around when I'm in the car, I see one of your trucks on the side of the road, so. That's on the side. That's it.
Amazing, okay. I'd like to call a meeting with Sullivan County IDA to order a roll call video. Present.
Mr. Steven.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
President, Mr. Steinhardt.
Here.
Mr. Steinhardt is present, Mr. Brooks. Here. Mrs. President, Mr. Hunter, Mr. Braun, and Ms. Stockton.
Thanks, Julio. I'm assuming everybody's read the Monday, April 8th meeting minutes, and if there's no corrections, can I have a motion to approve? Scott, second by Howard, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Bills and communications. Jen, I see there's a handout.
Yes, there's one additional payment for DG equipment for the Sullivan Capital Regional Food Hub for their procurement in a total of $1,800.
Awesome. All right, so can I get a motion to approve the amended revised schedule of payments? Carol, second. Ira, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Staff report and quarterly financial report.
I have no updates to this. I have one small update to the staff report. Bethany just mentioned food hub procurement. So as you recall, last year, the IDA was awarded a roughly $93,000 grant from USDA to purchase equipment that will be leased to the food hub entity. And it's commercial kitchen equipment. So I've been working closely with the folks at the food hub, and we have purchased equipment totaling about $89,800. So we have a few more things to purchase. That procurement's going along just fine. And I expect that we'll be finished in the next couple months with the procurement, and then they're gonna work on installing the equipment right away.
When are we gonna, what do you anticipate the lease date to be?
I would say not till probably August, September, maybe. It takes 4 to 6 weeks for the equipment to come in and then installation. One other quick thing about the food hub, there are 2 propane fired wall hung heaters that were installed when the building was fitted out inside, and one of them is not needed. And so the food hub entity has asked if we could get rid of it. It's valued at maybe like $1,000 or $2,000. So
Why? Is it
it's in the way. Yeah, it hangs above where the kitchen is gonna be installed. So
When we wanted it back up in case there's a problem with the other one, so is there somewhere that it's supposed to sell again?
we could keep it if we could find a home for it, and I can work on that. It seems like there's no room for it at the.
Are they the same size?
No, one's 75,000,
That's
one's
what I
100,000.
Yeah,
So we don't need it.
well, which one is,
I asked them, I don't remember which
It's
one,
just with the
which one do
supply
you want?
chain, everything and duplication, if there is an issue here, we're gonna, we're gonna spend.
we can find a place to store it,
Okay.
But it
And
may
then
not be
we'll
but
big enough.
it may, if it's the little one, it's not big enough, that's the point.
Right,
I thought they were 50 and 100, they're 75 and 100.
75 and 100 according to the plans. It looks like it's the 75,000. It's the smaller physically one. I haven't
Okay.
seen it yet.
All right, so,
Still, for that kind of money, it's worth saving, you're right, instead of trying to get the money for it.
all right,
I
we'll
just know
figure.
supply chain replication.
Yeah.
I don't, I mean, it's $1,500 or something.
Okay, all right. Last thing is just for your information, the financial disclosure forms are due by the 15th, or you can request an extension if you need extension of time to file. I printed several hard copies that are on the table there, and I can email it out again to anybody who needs one.
The food hub truck, or whatever that truck is,
The van.
is there a status on that?
No, I need to dispose of it. And so I'll just follow our procurement policy and sell it.
What is our procurement policy for that?
We have to either auction or at least publicly advertise for bids.
Just go out to bid.
So, yeah.
Just as if a town was selling an old snowplow, there's tons of information.
Right.
When you do that, when you do it for both, do it for that, do it for the
And
heat.
the heater while I'm doing it, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's owned by
Right,
us,
so-
it's not, it was leased
I
to
like the
somebody
first
else.
idea of
I
storing
know, but it's a small one.
Yeah.
We don't.
75 of the 100 is still a pretty good sized unit.
It'll become garbage storing it.
Yeah. So do them both. Sorry, I didn't mean it that way, but yeah. Not all my.
It's not a big one way or the other.
Okay,
On
thank
the-
you.
Yeah, on the financial report, I don't have a lot to mention. A couple things I would say is, on the profit and loss. You'll see where we're way over or under our budget. And we're way over on repairs and maintenance, and that's because we had to pay to fix that van that was previously leased to Catskill Brewery. So that was anticipated. And then there's also a line for bad debt expense. That's because I had to book the termination of the van lease somewhere. And so I booked it as bad debt expense.
What's
So
that
let
worth?
them-
What's that truck worth? Is it worth what we put into it so that we'll get that back?
I think so, yeah. Not a lot more, but
Well, no,
We'll get that back.
so we need,
yeah.
because otherwise it's worth nothing.
Right.
We didn't spend it, nobody's buying it to spend it,
So, yeah, I think we'll repeat that. So I'll get that underway.
at least by the winter, so that it's not the way it's fine.
Yes, yeah, done that by Wednesday.
Looks pretty good back there, though.
Yeah. They had it out for a while, I'm thinking to myself, it's not worth it. I put it by the smoker.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to new business. The first resolution is approving an increase in the authorized sales and use tax abatement relating to the Maud Crawford Realty LLC and Virtual Ski Company Incorporated DBA Holiday Mountain Project. May I get a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Ira, second. Sean, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Second resolution, appointing New York Forest Work One LLC as agent of the agency for the purpose of constructing the project, making certain findings and terminations with respect to the project, authorizing the execution and delivery of an agent and project agreement, authorizing the agency to execute an agent and project agreement, lease to agency, lease back to company, payment in lieu of tax agreement, mortgage and related documents with respect to the construction of the project. I have a motion.
Well, what is it actually? You just went through a whole bunch of something, I have nothing, nothing about it. What?
She read the beginning of the resolution, but Sean Griffin is on, he can take you through it. You're recusing yourself anyway.
Good morning. How are you? I'm Sean Griffin with Harris Beach. I've done work in the past and brought in, I believe, as conflict counsel in this case. The project's a 5 megawatt solar array. It'll be on approximately 56 acres of a larger parcel. It's 125 acres. So we're only going to do a lease back on that 56 acre portion, providing sales tax exemption on the build out materials. It's anticipated they'd be underway and built by March 1, 2025. So that would drive our pilot schedule. The pilot schedule, even though the state program you reference has expired, the town, as part of their approval process, has in there at $7,500, which is slightly more than what we've done in the past per megawatt. And that'll be the pilot payment. Well, I put in there a mortgage tax exemption, but I spoke with Walt. They typically have not been doing mortgages. If they do, there'll be a 10 basis point fee for the mortgage tax savings, but we're not anticipating that being used. And as is typical, is typical with these, it's part of an overall transaction where a company kind of identifies sites, gets the approvals, and then puts really the long money in place, and that's all occurring simultaneously at this closing. And this is pretty common, and it looks like you guys have done several of these, so it's very similar. The only thing I could find that was the distinction in this case was I did approve the mortgage tax, so we don't have to come back if they use one, but it doesn't sound like they are going to use one. And number two, that's different, is 7,500 versus, I believe you've used 6,000 in the past per megawatt for a pilot payment.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other questions? If not, can I get a motion? Carol, second.
Sean,
All in favor?
Howard is recusing himself.
Thanks. So we have three resolutions coming up, but I did have a question for Will about them. I'll read the first and I'll ask the question. Amending the payment in lieu of taxation agreement between the agency and New York Delaware the LLC. And my question is, if we're going to, we know that the state of New York's all over the place with this, and it is a lot of paperwork to do these changes. My question is whether or not we receive, the IDA receives a fee because there's obviously significant time put into it. I don't, it might be a question to do some research on. Can't tell if we're gonna have changes every year, but this was a lot of work to change it.
Well, it's not unreasonable to, if work is going to need to be done by the agency and the attorney, to charge a reasonable fee to do the work. That's really gonna be up to the board.
Can we do a pass through, whatever the fee is?
No, they're gonna be covering whatever the legal fee is for sure.
Oh,
I think Kathleen's asking another question. which
It's
is-
administrative, because I mean, so if it happened every year, this is a lot of work. Obviously, we can't charge them for this one because we don't have that in our agreement.
a lot of work for you saying for Jen and for Bethany.
If you look at the paperwork involved, yeah, that's really what I saw that. I said, wow, this is a lot to change. And I understand why, why they're asking, and it makes sense. And, we're grateful because county and towns being made whole. It's just a lot of work. So that was really good.
So if we're just saying if it's in every year, so if it's done more than once in 3 years, let's say, we charge,
You know, obviously there's legal fees involved and that's
Right.
separate, but is there an administrative fee? Is it appropriate? I don't know the answer.
I would say if it's done more than once in 3 years, tack on 20% of the legal fee. I don't know, is that a reasonable thing or
Go
not?
ahead, Jen.
Well, I'll look through who and I were discussing. I didn't get a chance to go back and look and see if we charged a fee when we did amendments for 3 other solar projects last year. And I don't remember if we charged a fee or not, but we could look to that. And the other-
You did not.
I
I don't think there was.
But
But we
these
thought-
projects all paid a $15,000 administrative fee
Yes.
at the time of closing.
Right.
So if that's sufficient, that's fine. I didn't know that.
No, I don't know if it's sufficient or not.
Yeah.
Just to have all the facts out there.
No,
I don't think any of us know it, so it's a
Right.
good thing.
So over the 15 projects, they've paid about 225, more than that, because the first few projects charged more than 50. They probably paid 250,000 in fees to the agency.
But we're ahead right now.
Yeah, that would most likely covered. I just, you
Yeah.
wonder every year, I guess.
It's a good question, it's a good
Question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Maybe Jen, you can do some research, because obviously we're not charging them this time, that's, but, if we can find out. If you think that that's sufficient, it looks like there's a lot of work done. Yeah, and just,
Hopefully New York State won't.
Keep doing this.
right.
Right. Because this is all because of New York State, not
Yes.
because of anything local.
No, and that's the other thing. I don't want to penalize a good applicant either, but if it becomes a burden, it's tough. Right. All right, so that being said, does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, can we get a motion to approve the first resolution for,
Why don't we do it the same thing for each one, once we do it as a group? We should do all 3.
okay?
Did we want to discuss that change to those,
Yes, I'm proposing, some small changes to the Rosemont resolution.
So do
we
the
can
other
move them
2.
first. Okay.
why don't we do the other 2 collectively and then we'll
Okay.
jump on the.
Can you
Rosemont
make
real
a
quick.
motion?
Yes, and then to exclude the roads. What's the name?
Rosemont.
So approving Delaware 5 LLC and New York Thompson 2 LLC.
Can I get a motion? Sean, second?
Sure.
Carol? Okay,
Am I
so
still recusing
No.
myself? No? No, I'm not.
I need a motion to approve
But you
both
just
the
did those
resolutions.
together.
That was
I'll make a
That's the other one.
Sean, second. Carol, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to the last, the next resolution, amending the payment of the taxation agreement between the agency and Rosemont Solar LLC. Go ahead, Jen.
We want a motion and a second for discussion,
Yes.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
for discussion.
For
For
discussion.
discussion.
Thank you. Okay, so Jen and I were working on this resolution, and the question came up about the first pilot was made before the project was officially hooked up to the grid, but the mechanicals were done on the project, and speaking to Walter, who represents the developer here, the original pilot agreement was correct with the first year online for purposes of pilot payments. So we had, in the resolution that you may have before you, we moved it down 1 year, but actually the first payment was what, 2021, Jen?
The first payment was 2021, but the schedule shows February 1st, 2022, which is year 1 of essentially the 2021 payment ended up being a in progress payment like some of our projects do. We haven't had another solar project that's done that, but so the correct pilot term is 2/1 of 22 through 2/1 of 41. The 2021 payment is a construction period payment, even though the project was done with construction for purposes of all the federal and state.
And you don't want them to get backed up.
Right, so what we had amended the pilot schedule in the resolution to include a footnote, which we would like to strike, because the 2021 pilot payment was correct.
Yeah.
And then, so the question is, can we strike that footnote and then strike a small clause in the sentence just above that footnote? It says year one is the February 1st, and we want to just delete of the year following the next March 1st. Which will make the language align with the original pilot and align with what's correct.
I'll make a motion to accept that, those changes, because we're separate. This is a third, this is its own.
You're making a motion on the amendment.
Right.
Yes.
I make a motion on the amendment to accept the two stated changes as discussed.
Sean, all in favor?
And then the calculations for the pilot are the same as the other two, the reduction in the pilot payments. So that's all the same.
Cleaning up the language.
Yes. So that's it. That's all we needed to discuss on that.
So now you need to move
Need to,
the resolution as
As
amended.
amended.
Can I get a motion to approve the resolution as amended? Carol, second.
Aye.
Ira, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Next resolution authorizing additional financing for the Givers Estates LLC and MEP Wholesaler Sport Project. And two, authorizing the chairperson or executive director to execute and deliver one or more mortgages and all related documents necessary to effectuate the foregoing. Can I get a motion for discussion?
I'll make a motion.
and then a second for discussion.
Second is by Ira, first is by Howard. Okay, discuss.
Where's, who's knows this one?
This is the plumbing HVAC supply facility that was approved by the board back in December in Fallsburg on La Vista Drive. At that time, the applicant requested and the board authorized a mortgage tax exemption up to, for a mortgage up to $2.1 million. And the company has now got a term sheet from the same line of Provident Bank to increase by another $300,000. So this is just a request to increase for additional financing and an increase in the IDA mortgage tax exemption. The scope of the project hasn't changed.
We just ended up spending more money than we anticipated.
Shocker.
Yeah, all right, so let's make a motion.
So Howard made the motion, who's the second?
Ira. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Before we
You're
go,
done?
Yeah, I don't think you need me anymore. I was just here for that particular conference.
Nice job.
thank
Nice to meet
you.
you. Thank you all.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody.
Yeah.
So there is no public. We're gonna need to go into, I'm gonna need a motion to go into executive session to discuss the financial history of a particular corporation. And any and all,
Make that motion.
Howard, Scott, okay.
Jen, I'm gonna drop off then.
Okay, thank you, Sean.
Thank you for your time, but thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, everybody have a good one.
Thank you.